Hey there, music fans. Welcome back to The Real Music Observer. My name is Dave, and this is my video blog for today. Today we're talking Fleetwood Mac, one of my all-time favorite bands. Of course, the Rumors album, one of the greatest albums of all time, but a body of work that spans so many years. And, of course, the band that thrives on drama, and even a little bit of drama up until recently, I would say. Stevie Nicks, who was in the band and touring, decided not to participate in this latest Fleetwood Mac project, which ended up being a Buckingham McVie album, which really it should have been looked at as a Fleetwood Mac album, and the record company probably should have insisted that they call it Fleetwood Mac. And here's my thinking on this, because back when Buckingham flew the coop after Tango in the Night, he was just tired and he needed a break, and quite frankly, I don't think he and Stevie Nicks, even to this day, get along perfectly. I think they have their moments, and I think Buckingham was tired of the touring and so forth and decided to take a break, do a solo album, and then eventually he would come back, but it took him many, many years before he returned to the band. The band soldiered on without him. Now think of this. Behind the Mask, 1990, the songs that were popular on that particular album were either songs written by Christine McVie or songs that were written by Stevie Nicks. But the McVie songs tended to be the stronger tunes on that album. The rest of the album, the hired hands, they hired two guys to fill in for Buckingham. Can't recall their names. They were somewhat well known in the music industry as session guys, and they had created a few albums on their own, but for the most part, they were just hired to replace Lindsey Buckingham. And they had a completely different approach to songwriting and to melody, more on the rockabilly side of things. Just, to me, it didn't really sound like Fleetwood Mac when they would go to one of their songs on the album. It was just a different animal and really stretched the band away from some of their more traditional sounds. I mean, love him or hate him, and I'm a big fan, Lindsey Buckingham is the heartbeat of Fleetwood Mac. Of course, their rhythm section, one of the most identifiable in rock music, with Mick Fleetwood and John McVie playing. But today's drama really focuses on two things. Why didn't the record label just call this a Fleetwood Mac album? And did Stevie Nicks have something to do with that? Because guess what? A Fleetwood Mac album would sell a hell of a lot better than a Buckingham McVie labeled album. Now, of course, diehard fans like you and I, we're not going to really care. We're going to go out there and scoop this up. In fact, the tracks I've heard so far, I would say this album sounds a lot like the Tango in the Night period, but there's also definitely a new vibe to it. There's a lot of great, intricate guitar work. Christine McVie sings like a bird. She sounds phenomenal for her age. It's just miraculous how well preserved she is, both physically and vocally. And again, like I say, the tunes that I hear her voice on, she just hits it out of the park. And of course, if you were witness to the tour they did a couple years back where everybody was in the fold again, you heard some of the great Fleetwood Mac songs almost sung with a new vigor and a new passion and a new energy and enthusiasm. But what the heck is going on with Stevie Nicks? She should have probably been a part of this project. I hear, she had her own thing going. She was on tour. Look, folks, this is the end of an era. Whether you want to agree with me or not, rock music of this caliber won't be made again. And these dinosaur bands that are still roaming the earth and still creating great music for us and still trying to stay relevant in this internet age and in the age of digital downloads and scooping up songs for free and so forth. They're trying to remain part of the musical landscape. They're not part of a video game. They're not part of a craze. They weren't discovered on some television show like America's Got Talent or something stupid. These guys paid their dues. They did the club scene. They work hard in the studio perfecting. I mean, no one's going to perfect more than Lindsey Buckingham. So with that said, though, it would be nice to have everybody on board. And if I were the record label here, I would have insisted, no, we're calling this a Fleetwood Mac album. Now, was Stevie Nicks so upset that that might happen that she kind of blocked that idea? See, on a recent interview on one of those CBS morning type shows, a Sunday morning, a lot of times they have these older bands on, and it's more or less for the baby boomers in their audience. They can divert away from the typical doldrums of the regular news and look in to see what their heroes of music are doing. And they interviewed Buckingham, and Buckingham's talking about his relationship with Stevie Nicks. And they ask him, they say, hey, you know, how's it going today? And he kind of pauses and shakes his head, and he says, hey, it's still a work in progress. Stevie and I are still a work in progress. Here's a guy who was devastated back in the late 70s and wrote songs about it. And, of course, Rumors is partly about all of what was happening in the band. But even today, he and Nicks aren't always seeing eye to eye, probably on very shallow and very basic stuff. So that might be a window into why Stevie Nicks decided to kind of pull back a little bit. I hear she is going to be on tour with the band when they embark on their latest tour, and hopefully they're going to be playing some new songs from this CD, which sounds amazing. And that's why I'm a little bummed out that Stevie Nicks didn't have much to do with it. It would have been nice to have everybody back in, since, again, Christine McVie came back in, and thank goodness she has a creative streak in her that is still going strong. And of course, Lindsey Buckingham, he could produce anything, anybody, and probably make them sound incredible. So Fleetwood Mac, the drama continues. They'll be on tour. They're part of that East Coast, West Coast concert thing. And I'm sure if you've got tickets for that, you're going to see rock and roll history at its finest. For the Real Music Observer, my name is Dave, observing real music in real time for real people like you, and we will talk again soon.